bring them out? You guys just came on out right before I came. Okay, all right. Okay, this is Eric Wall and Emily Whitesell, the writers and producer of the show, the creators of the show. I'm gonna say it right. Elaine. Yes, Elaine Powell. And Alex Rowe. Okay, I got this. I got it. Bala Evans Akinbala. Okay, Rena Owen. And Ann Bergen. Let's give it up for it, guys. Am I gonna stay up here or am I gonna sit down with you guys? Or I think I'm gonna sit down.
What's up, guys?
A TLC girl, we don't wear heels. Well, first of all, thank you guys, and first of all, thank you so much for having me. I am so happy to be here to moderate this panel. I'm a huge fan. I think a lot of you know about that. You guys know too. Been tweeting some of us. All right, so let me start with you two. So we just saw this great recap of the first season. Bristol Cole was a mess, okay, at the end of season 1. How did you decide to end the season?
Well, first we thought, well, we could just blow up the world and go with it. But we really made a conscious choice to keep it intimate and to feel like people care about these characters and these relationships. And so we really wanted to tell a more personal story, and knowing that people are invested in these people and these relationships, and to kind of keep it smaller and intimate, while at the same time sort of dropping in some cliffhangers, but to not go too big and just trust that our audience is really caring about these people.
You want to add something to that?
Yes, no, that's really the choice that we made. It was very conscious. We came up with some alternate endings, big, as Eric's saying, blow up the world.
Yeah.
Or lead into the next season, but I think it's a very savvy audience as well, and they are invested in those personal stories, and we can get there, and I think they trusted us to do that later, so we just sort of decided that was more important.
I was invested. And I was very stressed out too. So thank you for that. All right, this question is for each of the actors. We can start with you, Elaine. Tell us where your character left off at the end of season 1.
Oh, Rin's been through quite a journey. I think at the end of season 1, Rin's whole world is almost literally upside down. She's on land now. She's had to say goodbye to her people because she realizes now she's seen as the enemy, and so to stop that she's on land. She's also seen the effect she's had on Ben, and actually also Ben and Maddie and their relationship. She's lost her sister. There's a lot that happened for her, and I think now she's facing a whole new journey of trying to find home in a completely new place, and maybe even with less of the people she thought home would be, Ben and Maddie. So I think she's facing a few challenges now.
Yeah, she is. You are.
She is. I think, Ben has also been through the ringer, is what we say in England. I don't know if it counts over here. But he's kind of left having lost everything really. He's like lost his girlfriend, he's lost Rin, he's kind of lost his mind.
Sorry.
You're not forgiven. So I think season 2 will definitely entail him trying to get himself together, you know. But I think the whole journey is quite a relatable one, you know, the idea of can you trust yourself and can you trust like that your intentions really are good. And I think that's what Ben was struggling with through season 1. So now that he has some clarity on that, maybe he'll be able to act accordingly.
And I looked at me and
and passing.
Pass it on.
Yeah, I think Maddie in season 1, she was really finding her sense of direction, and then this force of nature that is Rin comes in and turns all our lives upside down. So by the end of season 1, she's kind of trying to get her balance. She's lost her balance. She's definitely lost her balance. And then her mum, who has been MIA for 10 months, comes back into her life after just breaking up with, or having a little break.
Hey, it's not a break.
Having a little break with Ben. So she's heartbroken, and then the kind of bomb of her mum coming back is an extra pressure that I think is going to be interesting for her to explore in season 2.
Hi, everyone. For Helen, I guess the biggest character journey for Helen, she exposes herself to her mer people, to Rin and to Donna. And as everyone who's already watched season 1 and the final episode, I come out of their closet and expose myself to Maddie and Ben, and we learn of their history as family, and the fact that I come from the mermaid line and Ben comes from the Caucasian line. So that was a big reveal. And if you think about Helen and the age I am, I really had to think about how she kept this a secret for so long. It was really like coming out of a closet and, exposing that is the most beloved thing to her family burial ground. And so I'm curious about what becomes of this knowledge, particularly in terms of the family ties. I also now know that I'm concerned for the love triangle because they are struggling, and Rin will come back and live with me. So, people are hurting. And so I feel very much with Helen like the mermaid culture. It's part of the matriarchy thing of helping people. And first and foremost, though, protecting the mer people, protecting my tribe is my number one.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, so Xander.
Hashtag poor Xander. I think aside from him ending the season probably dehydrated because he cried forever, he was in, his entire world has just completely been shattered. Every pretense he had about the world that he lived in, or the future that he would have or wouldn't have, I think all of it is just like in tatters, and then of course he's racked with guilt for what happened to Donna, and I think he realized he was in such a rage and just blinded by so much emotion that he was impulsive, and that's kind of one of his best and worst traits. He's just incredibly passionate and incredibly impulsive. And it all just kind of just ends up turning into a huge disaster because he was gaslit the entire season. But yeah, I think he's in a good position to build himself back up because he's been completely broken down.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'm gonna get into some of the bigger things that happened in season 1. I want to know, and I know everybody in here wants to know, what drove Rin to come to Bristol Cove? What was that? Why did she come?
So we had a couple of big themes going on with her arrival. Obviously, one of the main ones which we explored in season 1 and will continue in different ways in season 2 is the environmental theme, where she is literally driven to the surface in a dangerous way because the food supply and the oceans are changing, which feels very much like something we all care about and love to write about too.
Right.
So that's initially why she comes. She stays, obviously she's been separated from her sister in season 1. So we spent a great deal of time, and then she becomes so attached to humans and the land. It really draws her. That was the initial motive.
What was the inspiration behind the mermaids?
It's always so interesting when you have these classic mythologies, and we talked about it earlier, mermaid mythologies are a global phenomenon. Every culture has one. And it's always just so exciting when you have a chance to kind of flip those mythologies on their head. And all of a sudden, no, this isn't your typical, aerial mermaid. These are tough predators.
They bite.
They bite. They've got teeth and claws.
Yes.
that tail spike, which is amazing. Yes, just to it's really exciting always to kind of flip a classic mythology on its head and present sort of a new view of that. It was really exciting for us.
How did you come up with casting these actors for the role?
Oh yeah, I want to know that.
Because I think the cast is perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect cast. It's nothing like when you have a great story to tell and great actors to tell it successfully. I mean, that's why you guys are coming back, season 2. Yeah.
We got so lucky in looking for them. I mean, a lot of it is you search and you search, but when we met each and every one of them, and Alex and I had actually worked together before, but when each one of them came in many cases, I think it was sort of, oh, that's it. You know, they just did it. They were these people.
Yeah.
It's always interesting because when you're writing a character, you often have an image in mind for what that person looks like, or even an actor that you're referencing. And sometimes you get set on that, and to the network's credit, they really pushed us to look at a wide array of possibilities. And then when someone like, an Ian Verdun comes in, or Raina, and you had one idea of what that character could be, and they just blow you away with this audition, it just opens up this whole new world of possibilities for that character.
I would love to see that audition tape.
All of them were.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay, so this question is for the actors. How did you audition for the role? We can start with you.
I just did a tape in London. I thought it was an awesome job and did a tape. And then a week later, I heard they liked the tape and they wanted to have a little chat. So we did it on Skype. And then I got the call.
We saw her tape and we're like, we're not sure she's human. So amazing. The performance, the way she inhabited it, that was incredible.
I know, I agree with you on that.
I was shooting a movie and Emily and I had worked with each other before, she sent me the script and I spoke to Scott, who was our producing director, and initially I was like, come on man, a mermaid. But it was so cool, this idea of how they flipped it on its head, as you were saying, Eric. This like worldwide, global mythology, turning it on its head like that. And I wanted to be a part of it the second that I read it. So met with Emily and eventually met with Eric, but was incredibly excited to be a part of it for sure.
I was similar to Eileen in that I did a tape when I was in London, and then I flew over to LA and we did what you call a chemistry test. So me and Alex got to test our vibe, and I think it was good.
Wait, let me ask this question. Did you guys kiss? I just want to know. Just like it's like a rehearsal.
I had to restrain myself.
Top lip, bottom lip.
Sometimes they do that though. Sometimes you have to stare at each other for 5 minutes, and it was just there.
No, he was lovely and welcoming, so it made the job of auditioning a little less stressful, having Alex's calm energy.
I got a call from my agent, and I thought this said a lot about the show creators. And he said, there's this pilot, and they're only seeing a few actors for each role, and they're very interested in you for Helen. So read the script, let us know if it's something you want to go in for. And I read the script, and I'm born as an actor about script. It's all about, I'm only as good as my script. And I just loved the script, and I'd never seen anything, the formula and structure was television, but the content and the fact that the whole story came out of this environmental issue and that we're dealing here with a matriarchy. And Helen, I just thought I got her, and I thought this is exactly the kind of character I was looking to be at this point in my career. And I went in, and the casting director said they're very excited about seeing you, so that gives you a bit of a bump. And I did my audition, and as good as I could, and enjoyed it. And then the following week, my agent's like, okay, I'm sending you some sides for your callback. So he said, you know, get ready for your callback. And then the next day he's like, oh, don't worry about the callback, they want to lock down the contract now.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, so I was, you know, I was just made for Helen. There's just certain characters in your career where you just go, your life accumulates in this role right at this point in time, and it's, I love being Helen.
Yeah,
She's
there's
a
no
key
one
love
else who
being
can play
Helen.
it.
No, yeah.
Okay, so me, I got the audition, actually it was like right around my birthday, and we were out on an island off the coast of California, and it was just kind of apropos. But I got the call for the audition, and I was like, mermaids? Okay. And I get the script, and I read it, I loved the script, and I saw the character on the page. I like to say he was kind of described like portly Thor. So, so I was like, okay, yeah, it's pretty much portly Thor. And I was like, oh, well, if they're gonna go with me, they're gonna go with me. I'm just gonna make my choices and we'll see what happens. Okay, great. And so I go in, I have the first audition, and it was, you know, it was fine. They were really nice. And they was like, oh, you got a call back. I'm like, really? Oh, okay, awesome. So, and this is, I don't think I've told this story. It's really gross. My studio test, not studio test, my callback. I go there and I had to go to the bathroom, like so bad. But it's an audition, so deal with it. So I get in, and you know, there's like the whole list of people that go in before you, and I'm like, oh God, I think I have some time. I don't want to go to the audition and be holding it. So I go to this little bathroom, and I go in there, and you know, I see a guy. He's like, you know, I have to use the stall, so you know what's happening. I go to the stall, and it's like the worst. I'll be honest. I don't know what I ate. It was awful. And like I'm just like sitting there, just embracing my own stink. And true story, by the way. This actually happened. So I leave, and like the guy that was like there at the stall, and I was like, oh crap, there's somebody that just smelled my essence. I need to get out of here. So I like go out, wait, and I'm like, okay, great. Get into the audition room, and apparently the guy that was at the stall was Scott, who was the director for the pilot. So I'm just sitting there, and Emily was in the room too. It was Emily and Tanis and Scott.
In the bathroom.
Not in the bathroom. That would have been worse.
And that's what got you the
That's what got me the part. I stink shamed them into casting me.
All right, I don't know. Look, no one else. Please don't do that.
Don't try that at home.
Yeah, don't try that. Eileen, your character to me, and I'm sure to everybody else, is such a boss. You really are.
I think she's the most.
Oh yeah. Seriously. You read the script. Is that how you saw the character?
Absolutely. Absolutely, she's a boss, which is quite rare for me to play because I'm a bit petite, and obviously high five. And obviously the association is, you know, little girl, you know, cute, vulnerable, which she is at times, but I thought I saw her completely fierce and ferocious and strong, but just at a disadvantaged position. Which is amazing to play. I thought she was a total boss.
Yeah.
Very, very intelligent, and in fact her curiosity about the human world helped her, I think, be so flexible into understanding it and progressing in it. And yeah, I think Rin is still cooler than I could ever be. So yeah.
Well, it's in there.
Not
You
true.
conjured it up, so it's in you anyway.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, these guys write such great scripts. I got asked the other day, do you improvise any of the lines? And no, they all come up with, okay, yes, like they do all that stuff. We maybe, you know, we add a lot of our physicalities to it, and we try to add spice, but it's all there. Our drawings are there, we just paint.
Wow.
We just paint them.
Well, I'm sorry.
I just wanted to add to the fact of the strong, powerful woman. Is the mermaids are a matriarchy, and is information that the audience learn in 9 when the other characters have to bow down to Rin. You know, it's a matriarchy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Which is very cool, because I've been looking at a lot of really intelligent social animals, and elephants, killer whales, dolphins, even with wolves, all have matriarchies, which I think is very interesting.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I need you. I need
Yeah,
you.
okay.
I want you to do that. I want you to hiss. Do the little hiss. Yes. I love that. I'm like walking around the house. My son is like, "Mom, what are you doing?" I'm like,
Honestly, in a queue, if you're at Starbucks, just like,
"Yeah." Is it like?
what's
It's
that?
not. No, that's not the cat. I
Soy
sound.
latte, okay.
Okay, we'll leave it to you.
No, you can do it.
All right, Emily, as a female showrunner, how vital was it for you to have such a strong female cast?
Yeah, baby.
You're asking about it because they inspire me. The physicality of it, the power that they all show in their roles as females, just inspires you to write it more. So we just embrace what we see, and it certainly was in the mythology of the show as well. So it all came together in a great way. I mean, as creative things tend to do, it's almost sometimes an accident. But in this case, the more we embrace it, the more we love it, the better it gets, the stronger everyone feels. And it feels so true to the world and what everyone's feeling right now as well.
Yeah.
It just really, I don't even necessarily think of it in feminist terms, and yet it's just the natural storytelling of it. It comes off that way.
Nice. Rena.
Yes,
Macarena? Rena?
That's right, do the Macarena.
You are not a stranger to genre. You were in Star Wars. Did you guys know that? Yeah. How has this genre progressed as far as women and diverse representation go?
Oh, I think, I love where it's currently at. And that says something about George Lucas. George Lucas actually had 6 Polynesians in Star Wars episode 1, 2, and 3. So it's visionaries. Visionaries are already seeing the face of the future, like with Star Wars and Matrix, with our show. This is one of the most diverse casts I've ever worked with. It was tough in the 90s in America. I got launched in a New Zealand film called Once Were Warriors. I came to America and I'd go into my room and I'd ring my agent, she's fantastic, but what is she? What is she? Because it was still back in the 90s and somewhat into the 2000s where actors were still in boxes. Oh, that's your black role, that's your Asian role, that's your... and a lot of us in this world, we're all diverse. I mean, if I look at my blood, my dad's native New Zealander and Welsh, and my mum's English, French, Danish. There's very few full-blooded anything anymore in the world, and we are all mixed up.
Yes.
And we all have different ancestries and different genes, but we're all human and our blood all runs red.
That's right.
A long time for the... I'm getting the best roles now that I'm in my 50s, because as an actress, when you're in your 40s, you're too old to be the chicky babe, and you're a little too young to be the old wise
Still the
grandmother.
chicky bit.
Yes, you are. Yes.
Chippy bag.
So any mature actors out there, all I'm going to just say is hang on to your character, don't go and freeze it, because you will get more work in your 50s if you keep it real. Keep it real.
All right, Alex and N, how does it feel to work opposite, with these strong women, these characters?
I was raised by my mom and my sister. My mom is like a crazy strong woman. She has to be to raise twins on her own.
Wow.
So I feel pretty comfortable being around strong women. It's amazing. It's like for these relationships not to fall into gender stereotypes, and I think Maddie and Ben's relationship is quite interesting because it doesn't really fall into that. I think they're both equals and they communicate in quite an equal way. Unfortunately, it's on a rocky patch right now. But and then also Rin, who is obviously an extremely powerful, strong character and creature. And I think that for Ben, I think maybe there is some kind of adjustment that he needs to make. But I think that Ben is written in such an amazing way that he is very open, and I don't think that Ben is someone who believes in gender norms either. So I think he's pretty comfortable being around pretty strong women too. So I think it's amazing to be around strong women again.
He's our babe.
Yes. For me, I'm very similar to Alex. Grew up in the world of women, and I was raised by a single mother. And she's here, wherever you are, Mom. I love you. For me, it's just incredibly natural. My entire family is matriarchal. Like, all the powerful positions of the family are from women, and I strongly believe that strong women raise strong men, and to give autonomy and to be able to call your own shots and make your own decisions and be strong without society like coming down on you. It allows all of us to grow. It allows women to grow into the potential that they've always had and always deserve to have. And it allows men to also reach that potential and to embrace what's feminine within themselves, to embrace their own emotion, to embrace their own vulnerability, to embrace those things. Because it makes you human. It makes the world a better place. And to be on a show that embodies that, and to be on a show where there are so many strong women from so many different kinds of backgrounds, embracing that and taking the lead, I think it's a beautiful opportunity. And just the way that we all work with each other and our energy with each other, I feel like it's a great template for how things really should be. Yeah. So I have no problems taking orders from a woman. No.
Work for Helen.
Well, being I can't say that I'm a single mom. I mean, my son's father is definitely involved, but, it's just my son and I, and women definitely can raise some strong men, and that's what I'm still doing. My son just turned 21. It's so crazy. I'm like, what happened? He graduated from college 2 days later, 21, and I can't believe it, but I told him, I said, you're not an adult yet for real until you're 25 because the frontal lobe doesn't close until you're 25. I'm still holding on. My spidey senses are telling me that more mermaids are coming ashore to Bristol Cove. Can you tell me about that? And tell us all about that?
No.
Okay,
please. We will confirm. We will not deny that they are coming.
Okay.
We're just we would love for some surprise element to pop in. So we're not going to say too much about it, but yes, more are coming for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, it definitely will give us a chance to dig even more into the mermaid mythology, sort of what their lives are like, what their social structures are like, and also just we're really interested in kind of the smaller moments too. Like, does a mermaid know how to laugh, or what laughter is? Just really digging into those sort of odd, smaller moments as well. It's really cool.
Wow. Okay. Well, as a singer, I'm very curious about this Siren Song. Have any of you all been able to actually do it?
I did do it on set.
You did?
I did do it in the audition. I did not do it in the final. No, I did do it on set, but I think there's a really talented sound artist called Michael Levines, and he's created a whole array of special effects with this voice that he's used to create that sort of ethereal, otherworldly sound that I could not produce. Then again, I'm no Chilli. Maybe if I'd your voice, it would have all been fine. But no, I sing on set, and when we have when Rin and Ben bond again by the sea lion, and he asks her to sing, I did sing, and he did seem impressed by it.
Were you impressed?
Yeah. It's a beautiful sound.
You're funny.
It's true, I actually saw them in the van after they'd done that scene, and they were both kind of like on this high.
Yeah, for the rest of the day, Alex was just following me around saying, sing to me, sing to me. Like, come on.
That's not true.
I believe her. I believe her. You were following her around.
No, Rin's a more impressive singer.
Okay, okay. Speaking of the song, we know that Ben is under Rin's Siren Song Trance. Will any other townspeople get to hear it this season?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a part of our mythology, and possibly even some people on this panel might get Siren, but...
Oh, crap.
Who's it gonna be?
Oh man, and it's funny because in watching the show, sometimes the song when you hear it and you were singing it for Ben, he was just so in love and just caught up, and you weren't trying to kill him, but your sister, on the other hand.
Yeah.
So does it work in different ways?
So that's the mythology of the Siren Song that we're really going to dive into because we love it. So there's that mythology almost in every culture in the world about the sirens and this song, which we really find fascinating and thematically. What the Siren Song means in sort of the psyche and where it came from and all of this. And I always joke with Eric about the fact that men came up with, the idea of this song. I'm thinking this was a male idea, being controlled somehow by some crazy song. And so we're going to kind of, we get more into it in the new season and what it means and that it can affect people in different ways. And we embrace the traditional mythology from all over the world, and then we like to sort of put our own spin on things a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's where we're going with it.
Great, I can't wait. I'm so excited. So this question is for the actors. Where do you want to see your character go this upcoming season? Anyone can just jump in.
I think I'm really excited for Maddie to explore like her independence and explore the family dynamic that she has going on, which I think like is a universal thing that we can all relate to. No one has like a perfect family, and obviously it's like there's degrees of how like crazy your family is, but it affects us like so deeply. And she's kind of creating her own family with Ben and Rin. So I mean that family as well as her mum who's coming back, and so I think that's going to be really exciting to see how that affects how she deals with everything that's thrown at her.
Okay.
With Helen, in season 1, I pretty much was most of the time in my store or in my apartment out of necessity to hide Rin. And it really wasn't until episode 8 when we had the funeral for Xander's father, who was a good friend of Helen's, and it shows I'm also a friend of his mother's, and it was the first time though we really actually saw Helen in the community. So I think I'd like to see a lot more of her. This is community she's been in most of her life. I'd like to see her more in the community. Obviously her priority is always going to be about mer people. Should mer people come to land, then no doubts I'll do some wrangling, a little bit of protecting. So I'd like to see maybe what this 1/8 of my mermaid blood, possibly maybe superpowers come with that.
Yes.
Please,
God.
Yeah. So I'd like to maybe see things like that explored. Maybe Helen could have a love interest in season 2. One for the old girls.
Yeah.
I guess for Xander, since I'm assuming superpowers are off the table,
Right.
I would just like a moment of joy. Just like a scene where he laughs and is like, oh, what a good jolly joke you just made. I'm all for feeling deeply and crying, and it's great fun to do as an
I
actor.
love to see a man cry.
Yeah, it's very liberating as an actor. I enjoy it, and it's awesome. For Xander, I just wanted, some equilibrium, because he had a rough first season.
Let's see. Alex?
I'm looking forward to the mermaids, obviously. More of them coming to land. Looking forward to seeing Rin learn more about what it is to be human. I think that's always amazing to watch, and it's amazing to watch on set too. But then for Ben, I think...
That was like a
Little dig, throwing me some shade.
Why? Because I was saying that you don't know about
Are you
the
talking
work.
about Elena Rin?
Rin.
Oh, okay.
No, because we get to just watch her grab hold of things and like look at them and shake them. She's always like doing something you can watch. So I'm looking forward to more of that, that's what I'm saying. No diggers. And yeah, I think for Ben, I think, him trying to understand what this Siren Song is, what the effect of it is, because I think that's something that really hasn't really been explored, you know? And I think now that he knows that it is really affecting his decision making and affecting his brain, I think it will be, really fun as an actor, not so much for Ben, for him to try and wrangle it, get some kind of control, and learn more about it, try and find out what it's all about, because I find that side of it really interesting, how it does affect the human brain. I'm looking forward to that in season 2.
Okay, well, I can see Ben, not you, but the character Ben, and Chilli maybe in the water. Okay, wait.
I'm so with you there, Chilli.
You made him blush.
I'm blushing at making the statement.
Chilli,
You
guys.
better chase them waterfalls, man. You better chase them waterfalls.
Well, I'm open to it. Before we get to the audience, because I know you guys have a lot of questions, I want to go back to the character Maddie. Okay, so when the phone rang, you thought it was going to be Ben. We all did. And it was your mom. I fell off the couch during that time. Will we get to see your mother, possibly?
Yes, you completely do. And I'm as excited for you about that, you know, that's all I know. I know that we're getting to meet her, and I think it's just going to be such an interesting dynamic. Learning about her, what she's been doing, how much she's gonna, you know, there's a lot that has happened to Bristol Cove and to her daughter Maddie in the 10 months that she's been MIA, and so I think it's going to be really interesting to see how much she finds out and how we deal with that.
Yeah.
But wow. When I read that script, I was the same. I was like, oh my God, she's back.
Yes, that's going to be exciting. All right, so who wants to ask a question? Have our audience members out there? I don't see you guys.
I've got one question. Aline, what are you looking forward to Rin doing in season 2?
I definitely think Rin discovering human world is just so fascinating. How economy works, how houses and humor, like Eric said, I think how to explain humor to Rin is going to be interesting. There's just so much about when you look around us and try to think as if you don't know anything. There's quite a lot of amazing, like just the pure fact how many things we have to live a normal day. From the moment you wake up with your phone for alarm, and then you brush your teeth, and then all the shampoos and the conditioners and then the hair and then the makeup, and there's so much stuff that we have to get on with our lives. I think that must be quite a big contrast for Rin, who just swims when she wakes up and has a fish, and I think her life's quite simple, so I'm interested to see how she copes with the very complexities that we've built up as humans.
And to see how your character has been kind of, turning into a human more, like.
And she's really made Ben and Maddie her solid trustees group, whatever you want to call it, so now a little bit on her own, and definitely knowing she might not go back to the sea. I think that's quite harsh. So I'm hoping if we do see some Mars, I'd love to see what that interaction is like.
Me too. Okay, hi. Hello.
I was super excited in that episode where Ren climbs in the bed with Ben and Maddie, and my first reaction was, oh my God, mermaids are polyamorous. So, are mermaids polyamorous?
Are they polyamorous? I think mermaids are. I think mermaids. This is all speculation from Eileen, but based on a little bit of research in the marine mammal world, they love it. Honestly, if you look it up, they're very sensual creatures. They do things, they love it. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that because I'm just
she doesn't have the constraints that society puts on everyone. So I think a lot of it comes from she's an explorer. She just feels what she feels. She's of both worlds. And that's, I think...
Yeah, it's a pure gate for them. There's no, in our world we have very much, you are with this person, and she comes from a world where it's much more natural. You feel if you want to procreate for a baby, you do that. If you just want to enjoy a moment in time, it's very, very free. It's not malicious. It's not manipulative neither. I don't think Rin ever is trying to make a move. She's very, very pure and just, a bit sensual, I'd say.
Great costume, dude.
Spider-Man.
Shout out to Miles Morales.
Spider-Man.
So I don't know how many cons you guys have been at yet, but hopefully you'll have many more. And I'm hoping this question is asked every time, and it's for Elaine. Can you sing for us?
Oh God.
So beautiful.
Yeah. So my question is, are we going to see the love triangle between Maddie, Ben, and Rin explored further? And is it going to be resolved at the end of the season?
Scene spoilers, honey.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think if anyone knows a good couples counselor in Bristol Code, but yeah, no, definitely. I mean, we're fascinated by the triangle. We're fascinated that it's an open relationship that doesn't go by the norms of typical TV love triangles. And so yeah, that's definitely something we're gonna step into in a big way in season 2.
Awesome. Well, guys, we have to wrap things up. Sorry you didn't get a chance to ask every question. I know we could stay here all day long. Thank you guys for coming out, and I'm so happy that all of you, and just like me, we're huge fans of the show. And
thank you so much. Honestly,
seriously.
Thank you all. Thank everyone.
Let's give a round of applause for everybody throughout the cast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I love you too. like me, we're huge fans of the show. And
Thank you so much. Honestly,
seriously.
Thank you all. Thank everyone.
Let's give a round of applause for everybody for our cast.
Thank you.
I love you too.
You're gonna be exiting out that way. We fun? Yeah, last great exit. They'll be exiting out that way. Take a selfie.
Thanks for watching the show, you guys.
Sorry, I'm not asking you guys to exit.
Thank you so much. You guys, I'm gonna try to come out there, okay?
Are they coming out this way?
Thank you.